Alright, in this lesson I'll show you how to use Matplotlib to create a pie chart. And of course, pie charts are really effective at showing how different parts come together to form the whole. So for this example, I'm once again going to query a different company, something that's more fit for looking at pie chart data. So let's go ahead and use our data reader library to pull financial stock information for Apple. So I'm going to once again use my data reader library, or rather the data reader method on my data module within Pandas data reader. And this time I want to query stock information for Apple. It's once again going to be for Google. And for this date range, I want to start at the beginning of 2012 and proceed to the end of 2016. I'm going to store this in a variable called Apple and preview the first three rows with the head method. I'm going to write another custom method that I can use within my apply method in order to classify the numbers here in order to arrive at a data set that's much more fit for a pie chart analysis. So let's say I want to compare how Apple's stock performance each day compared to its average. So the first thing I want to do is find out what the average stock performance was. Let's say I take the stock at the end of the day, the closing price. So I'm going to extract the close series, and there it is. And of course, we have an available mean method, which gives us the average of those numeric values that make up the series. So Apple's average stock price has been $92.63. Keep in mind, of course, if you're watching this later, which you most certainly will be due to the laws of time, your data set is going to be longer and have more values, so your average is going to be a little bit different than mine, but the same rules apply. So we have Apple's average stock price here, which is $92.63. Let's see if we can classify all of the performances it had over this 4-year period as above the average or below the average. So what I want to do here is create a function called rank performance. Once again, it's going to take a single argument, which is going to be the stock price. If that stock price is greater than or equal to the average, which I have right here, so I'm going to pull this. Oops. There it is. If it's greater than that, I'm going to return that the performance was above average. Otherwise, I'm going to return that it was a below average performance. Alright, so I'm going to execute that to put that into memory. And as a reminder, I am going to be using the ggplot aesthetic here, the template here. So let's begin by extracting our Apple close column or series again. There are our values. On this series, I want to apply a method, so I'm going to call the apply method. That takes an argument of a function. I want to give it the rank performance function, so it's going to loop through all of those values and classify them as either below average or above average. I now want to take the value counts method. You don't have to do this, by the way. There's many different ways. I'm just giving you a data set that you can use that sort of demonstrates a good pie chart. So it's a little bit of a roundabout way to get there, but really this is the data set that I want to work with. We have a series here where we have an index label of strings, and then we have counts, and we want to see how much each of these contributes to the overall whole. So we can, of course, calculate how much was this performance out of total, how much was a below average performance out of the total, but a pie chart tells the story much quicker and much more effectively. So once again, I'm going to call the plot method on this Pandas series that came from our value counts method. And this time, to my kind parameter, I'm going to give, predictably, the argument of pi. So here we're going to render a pie chart, and you can see that over the course of these 4 years, Apple's stock performance has largely been almost 50-50 between being above average and being below average. Now, the problem here is that we see this sea of red and this sea of blue, but we have no clue which one represents what. So this is actually missing a legend, which is kind of the indicator of tying together colors with our categories here. In order to include it, we have an additional parameter here called legend, and we can set that equal to true. So now when I execute this, we're going to get the legend right here, and we can see that red indicates an above average performance and blue indicates a below average performance. So what we can see here is over the course of about 4 years of Apple's performance, its average stock price was about $92, I think, right here, $92.63. And about half the time it's performed above, and about half the time it's performed below. And of course, when you render this in the future, your pie chart may tell you a different story. But effectively, we can immediately see how something is performing in this sense, because we can see the parts and how they add up to the whole. So that's how you create a pie chart in Pandas and Matplotlib. It's as simple as modifying the argument to the kind parameter to be pi, Keep in mind again that that will render without a legend. If you'd like to include a legend, put the legend parameter, give it an argument of a Boolean true. And that is a pie chart in Matplotlib.